Thank you, Joe. Thank you all for inviting me. Weren't those cadets wonderful? I was one of them once in exactly that situation, and the pressure is intense, I'm here to tell you. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be here with you today to honor our heroes. I would like to tell you about my family, my heroes specifically, my dad and his brothers. My wife Phyllis and our three pups live down in Valley Center in North San Diego County. But when asked where I'm from, as any military brat can attest to, that's a little complex of a response. I was born in Japan at Itazuki Air Force Base, where my father was stationed. I lived on 4 bases in Germany and France over a 5-year stretch straight in Europe. And all of this happened by the time I was 7. We finally came back to my father's beloved Texas, and that's where I'm from. That's where the Knight family has been since the turn of the 20th century, as farmers scratching out a living. The physical center of the family is there. It's a place called Holder's Chapel. It's an old church in North Texas, about 40 miles west of Fort Worth. Dad and his 6 brothers and 1 sister, so 7 boys, and they finally got that 1 girl. All of whom served this nation. That's where they went to Sunday school and church, and nearby is where Dad fished and hunted and played ball. When World War II came, Dad's 4 oldest brothers fought in the Pacific and in the China-Burma India Theater. In 1945, a day after my dad's 14th birthday, his oldest brother, Jack, was killed in action in fierce fighting on the Burma-Lido Road as part of the Mars Task Force in what would become known as the Battle of Knight's Hill. Lord Louis Mountbatten renamed that spot Knight's Hill to be shown on all maps from that point forward. Jack was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor, the only one awarded in the CBI. In the same action, Curtis, the second oldest brother, was horribly wounded and awarded the Silver Star. 2 other brothers saw intense combat, one on Peleliu and the other aboard the USS Maryland, which participated in most of the major invasions of the Pacific. In 1949, 4 years after his death, Jack would finally be brought home to Holder's Chapel and buried in that peaceful place under live oaks. It's a beautiful place. In 1948, 4 days after his 17th birthday, Dad joined the brand new United States Air Force and became the service's finest clerk typist. He would eventually become an officer and finally realize his ultimate dream, which was to become a fighter pilot. In January 1967, we said goodbye to Dad as he left for Southeast Asia. I was 10 years old the last time I saw my father, and in many ways, I will always be 10 years old, and I think other kids can attest to that as well. My sister and I went to school that morning, and my little brother, who was 5, went with Mom to Dallas Love Field to take Dad to the airline for his journey to the war as an A-1E Skyraider pilot with the 602nd Fighter Squadron Commando, flying out of Eudora Royal Thai Air Base. His war would be savage and intense. During 5 months of combat, he flew almost daily, sometimes multiple times. His missions included not only strikes on targets on the Ho Chi Minh Trail in North Vietnam, South Vietnam, and Laos, but it also included supporting special operations troops going deep behind enemy lines, and also when it came time to expel those brave warriors out of harm's way. However, the primary mission he flew was search and rescue. He was a Sandy pilot. You all may have heard the name Sandy recently. He was pretty good at that, finding and helping rescue aircrew that had been shot down in North Vietnam and Laos. Somewhere, perhaps right now, there are children playing who exist because of the actions of my father and the magnificent crews of those Jolly Green helicopters who went in and jerked those young men out of harm's way. And that makes me feel pretty good. Then in May 1967, we got that visit from an Air Force chaplain telling us that Dad's airplane had been shot down while attacking a target on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. No parachute had been seen, no beeper, no voice. The location of the crash site is about 400 miles, give or take, as the Skyraider flies from Knights Hill in Burma, where he lost his brother 22 years previously. And on that day, our journey as an MIA family began. The limbo of an MIA family is uniquely hellish, an existence that goes from milestone to milestone. Perhaps he'll be home by Christmas. Maybe we'll know something by Easter. Maybe by my birthday. It was not to be. Over the years, we would get reports of possible sightings or of a pilot being executed, or Dad being spirited away to the Soviet Union, or that he perished in a crash. Mom would be called to go to a building in Dallas without any signs and look at blurry photographs of prisoners that had been smuggled out of, photographs that had been smuggled out of North Vietnam, see if she could recognize or identify my father. She could not. After Dad was shot down, he was awarded the Air Force Cross, our nation's second highest award for valor, the Silver Star and the Distinguished Flying Cross for his actions in combat during those 5 short months. In 1972, President Nixon ordered Linebacker 2, the Christmas raids. We finally unleashed the might of the U.S. Air Force and the other services on North Vietnam in a very decisive way, which helped bring the North Vietnamese to finally negotiate an end of the war. And in just a few short months, our POWs were coming home. On April 13, 1973, my family received a letter from President Nixon expressing the joy of Americans on the return of our POWs, but also the sadness that Dad was not among them. It's hard to describe the emotions you feel watching those heroes deplane and run into the arms of their families during Operation Homecoming. And even though we were told that Dad was not among those who was coming home, we still looked in every single face, desperately, but to no avail. Then on October 18, 1974, we received a letter from President Gerald Ford informing us of the official confirmation of the death of my father, a letter received by all MIA families at that time, as all were declared killed in action. Still no resolution. After about 15 years, search and recovery teams were able to get into Laos on a very limited basis, and over the next few years, Dad's crash site was searched and partially excavated with no remains recovered. Then in 2019, a field team of the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency, the DPAA, were on site to give it one more try. The active duty and Department of War personnel are some of the finest human beings on the planet. They go into dangerous places, unexploded ordnance, really difficult terrain, horrible working conditions, to keep the promise that no American will be left behind. I cannot say enough about these great Americans. On February 1st, 2019, Dad's 88th birthday, he was 36 when he was shot down, turned 36 in Southeast Asia. The forensic archaeologist in charge of that team, Allie Campbell, she's a beautiful, wonderful person, gathered the team together and opened a can of Laotian beer, poured some on the ground, and then she led the entire team in singing Happy Birthday to my father. And the next day they found him. In August of that year, Dad began his journey home. 52 years after he was shot down, my father was flown from Honolulu to Oakland, escorted by Brigadier General Chris Goldie Hawn. Goldie never left Dad's side from the time that he got to my father's casket until he was buried. He stayed with him every minute. In Oakland, Dad's plane was met by the captain and crew for the last leg back to Dallas Love Field, from which he had departed 5 decades before. That captain, a middle-aged Air Force veteran, a fighter pilot, was my brother Brian, the 5-year-old who said goodbye to his father in 1967. Dad's homecoming was amazing in every way. When they arrived in Dallas, the airplane taxied through a double-arched water cannon. The whole airport turned out with employees and travelers, covering the ramp and terminal windows as Dad taxied in. As we left Dallas for the hour drive to where Dad would ultimately end his journey, the streets were lined with people. Some saluted, some put their hands over their hearts. These folks didn't know who was passing by. They didn't know my family, they didn't know him. But they knew it was an American hero, and the respect and appreciation shown were remarkable. As we're going through South Dallas, I look out and there's a guy in a cherry picker 30 feet off the ground, at attention with a hard hat over his heart as we went by. As we progressed, different law enforcement agencies for the cities and the county and the state joined the procession as we headed down the highway. Cars stopped both sides of the road, and people got out to render respect and to videotape pictures. As we went through the under the overpass, as we got close to the town we were going to, fire apparatus were lined up across the overpass, and all the firefighters were out saluting as we went under. Our hero was coming home. At the military funeral 2 days later, the grounds of Holders Chapel were filled with family and friends, Americans who didn't know him or family, but just wanted to honor this man. The service was spectacular, with the Air Force Honor Guard doing an amazing job. At just the right, well-planned moment, a four-ship of F-16s of the 182nd Fighter Squadron and the 149th Fighter Wing, Texas Gunslingers, approached the cemetery fingertip formation. They were guard guys, so they may have been a little lower than they probably should have been, but they were beautiful. As is the custom of the missing man formation, at just the right moment, the second lead element pulls straight up and turned west, while the formation continues on with an empty slot. On this day, that Viper pulled up and went vertical and slow rolled into the heavens until he couldn't see it. It was the most beautiful thing. And my hero was home, circle complete, where he went to Sunday school, where he played ball and hunted and fished. He was laid to rest next to his brothers and sister and his mom and dad under those peaceful live oaks. Our story is one of so many of those who paid the ultimate price so that we can enjoy this amazing freedom promised by this experiment in democracy. Even with the burden my family has carried, I am immensely grateful and thankful for the sacrifice of all who gave that last full measure. To the veterans among you, thank you. Specifically to the Vietnam veterans who might be here, welcome home. I want to thank you for being here and allowing me to share about my dad and our family. Thank you very much.